конкуренты могут прийти за ней в любой момент.
Никто из вас меня от них не защитит. Вы их даже узнать не сможете.
In your previous interviews, Rupert, you were saying how house is usually a place where we feel safe, where we hide from our troubles, we take a break. But in this case, it's quite the opposite. The house is the cause of many issues. How this idea will be shown in the third season? And it's a question for both of you.
Yeah, I think this house is kind of its own character in a weird way. It's a haunted house because we know kind of terrible things happen there. And yeah, it is just being on it. It's a weird place to be. It has a very kind of quite eerie atmosphere. But I think, and also the way the house evolves, we're always kind of finding new rooms. And I think there's a few new kind of corners of the house that kind of appear in this season. And also we kind of see a bit more of the world outside of the house. So this kind of orbit is kind of getting larger.
Here we go.
Hello, Matthew, little bumblebee. We're
Тост за материнство и за новую жизнь.
Yeah, and it's very clever the way we constantly do perspectives. So, there's a scene where me and Rupert are actually watching a Mummy and Me session, which is actually a very lovely gathering of local mums. And, you'd probably not be their friend in 5 years, but it's right there. There's a mummy sounding board. And you'd be like, does your kid spray poo up their back? So there's all these like weird but lovely things. It's a very lovely place. But from our perspective, it's this very haunting kind of dangerous feeling about the situation and what it could represent for Dorothy, for Lauren's character. So it's just very clever the way it's laid out, and that we have those opportunities to be in a Mummy and Me session, then cut to the two people who are worried that this could really go terribly wrong, and inevitably does, whatever occurs, bees flying out of, a small hole in the ground, it could be anything, but it's literally that. So yeah, it's very clever. It's very clever. And that's what's always so enjoyable to be, shooting in the house, whether you're by yourself or with the team, it's a great location.
Она как червяк, который заполз под кожу. Это мой дом.
I started the first episode a few months after Leanne has helped reunite the family and they have their baby again. And everything is pretty happy and functional from Dorothy's perspective. Everything's going very well. Leanne is having a different experience where she's really in pain and traumatized, but Dorothy's trying to help her through that. And so from that starting off place, now we're going to get into a different struggle. There was this power struggle last year. Now it's more, it feels like, I have a teenager at home. It feels like seeing the teenager coming into her powers and but in this case, extraordinary powers, and having a lot of will against the family. So I don't know. It gets pretty wild.
В голову лезет всякая чушь.
And now talking about being extraordinary, like Leanne obviously has a force, like we don't know what it is. I'm not sure you already know what it is because I know they keep everything in secret. But I was wondering, did creators of the show provide you any kind of, books, maybe some kind of, spiritual things, like some kind of like things to hint you out where to look for or what to read, maybe, something?
Not really, no. I think that this was such a this cult is fabricated, and Leanne isn't coming from a traditional sort of religion or a traditional religious background that I could sort of do research on and draw from. It's all very sort of from the minds of the creators of our show. So it's more just having conversations with our directors and our writers and very intense conversations with Night and kind of just figuring out what this is and what this all means as it goes along. So it's not really a role that is kind of possible to prepare for or do research for because it's not really comparable to anything in real life. So yeah, I think we just wanted Leanne to be this kind of, and the cult that she comes from, this completely otherworldly experience. So I wouldn't say that there are any influences or any literature that I really read to prepare or to kind of understand it more. I think we all just kind of tried to figure her out and create it all together as a group.
Well, that's too bad. I was trying to find some answers before the new season comes along.
I'm not giving anything away.
We're gonna get you a Ouija board now. We get you a Ouija board for your dressing room.
Do it. I'll use it as well and haunt the whole set.
Yeah.
Она злится.
Еще бы.
Не обижай ее.
Она должна уйти.
With new season, you know, M. Night shot the first episode and his daughter shot the second in the final. I was wondering, what would you say their family trademarks when it comes to directing? What is their similarities? Is there any?
No, I think they've both got their own unique thing. I think that's what's nice. Night is very kind of forgiving in that way. You know, he accepts people for who they are. And that's, I think, why he has done so well, you know, and even when you watch The Sixth Sense, you saw a different side of Bruce Willis. And of course, he's fantastic and is that guy who's done movies and probably made that movie so fantastic. But it's that choice. It's that choice to allow someone in who's that powerful, who's that good, who will change scenes and make things perfect, you know, and has that kind of mind. He's got that kind of forgiveness in him, and that's a useful thing, I imagine, as his daughter following in his footsteps.
А что, если меня прокляли?
По-моему, все в жизни происходит так, как и должно.
Rupert, you know, fans are obviously, and I am too, very excited about, you know, Harry Potter reunions that comes in New Year and right after Servants. So it's like amazing, you know, beginning of the year for you. I was wondering, how was it for you? And second question for both of you, how do you think the Servant reunion will look like in maybe 10 or 20 years?
Yeah, we're getting on close to, I think we've been doing this 5 years now, I think. Something like that. So yeah, I mean, yeah, no, it's great to kind of look back. It's been 10 years since we finished the last Harry Potter film, and I mean, yeah, to see everyone again was yeah, great. It was a big part of our lives, and we'll always kind of be linked by that experience. And yeah, it's very nostalgic. It was our childhood. We grew up on those sets, and it's yeah, very kind of. It's amazing to think that it's been 20 years. And
for the Servant reunion, how do you think it will look like? Do you think you'll go to M. Night house, to his museum? I know he has a museum.
I don't know. I don't think we'll get invited. That'll be the worst part.
Yeah.
Invite Uncle George will be there and they'll forget us, you know.
Well, I'm pretty sure, Toby, if you'll be cooking, you will be invited.
Yeah.
А дальше-то что будет? Конец.